From the start of Demon Slayer, we're shown that becoming a demon is basically the most horrific thing that can possibly happen to a human being. Because even though they gain superhuman strength, speed, and healing, demons lose every bit of their humanity. Plus, it looks pretty painful. And so when Rengoku rejected the chance to become a powerful demon during the Mugen Train arc, he showed us that he would rather die than become a demon. But what if Rengoku had actually decided to live on and continue fighting as a demon? Let's rewind here. Akaza punches a hole through Rengoku's stomach and once again offers to turn him into a demon. With Tanjiro screaming in the background, Rengoku realizes that he is going to die. As you'll remember, in the original story, Rengoku accepted his fate with open arms, but let's imagine for a second that Rengoku shows some vulnerability and doesn't want to die here. Perhaps he clings onto life with every fiber of his being, refusing to accept his inevitable fate, or maybe he's determined to continue his fight against demons and is willing to undergo the ultimate and painful sacrifice to gain the power to do so. And as a result, this time, Rengoku accepts Akaza's offer. With a wicked smile, Akaza infuses Rengoku with enough of the Demon King's blood to start his transformation into a demon. And while this antagonizing process begins, the sun begins to rise as well. And with his last moments of sanity, Rengoku promises Tanjiro and the others that he will come back one day to fight by their side again. And the moment that the sun starts to creep across the horizon, Akaza mocks this promise and then quickly carries Rengoku into the safety of the dark forest. Now we do know from later on in the manga that super powerful humans like the Hashira can actually take a few days to fully transform into a demon. And so Akaza takes Rengoku somewhere safe and isolated during this transformation process, maybe a dark cave or an abandoned house somewhere, who knows. However, since Akaza selfishly wanted Rengoku to be his own personal sparring partner, let's assume that he does not take Rengoku back to the Demon King Muzan right away and instead keeps him far enough away that Muzan remains unaware of Rengoku's transformation for now. So a few days pass and the newly formed demon Rengoku finally awakens. His body has dramatically transformed with razor-sharp spikes, terrifying horns, and a swirling flame pattern along his skin. And like any new demon, the first thing that he really craves is food. And now, of course, the possibilities of this insane what-if scenarios can branch in many different directions. You see, we already know that demons will sometimes just completely lose their human memories after the transition. And so it's completely possible that Rengoku could completely forget who he was and become a ruthless, evil demon who eventually will serve Muzan. On the other hand, though, as we know, some demons do keep their memories or eventually recover them over time, so let's assume that Rengoku's crazy strength and discipline will enable him to hold at least some of his humanity despite his new demon form. But the cravings that come with his new demon form begin to drive him insane. The hunger eats at his insides and his body grows weaker by the hour. And still, Rengoku refuses to give in to his demon desires and he refuses to eat anything that Akaza brings him. Now, Akaza, who thinks that humans are pitiful and weak, grows increasingly enraged by Rengoku's defiance. He just wants to fight him again. And so the air crackles with tension as both Rengoku and Akaza find themselves eager to fight. Rengoku desires nothing more than to kill Akaza for revenge, while the other demon is determined to beat the humanity out of his new super strong adversary. And so they do clash, with Rengoku using a brand new blade of black flames made from his blood demon art. But despite gaining the usual supernatural strength, speed, and healing of a demon, Rengoku struggles heavily to keep up with Akaza's full power, which he never actually displayed during the Mugen Train incident in the first place. Rengoku fiercely fights against his demonic cravings for days as Akaza tempts him with human flesh. The two demons keep on battling every single night, and Rengoku's will to hold onto his humanity starts to weaken. Akaza warns him that Muzan will kill him if he ever thinks about betraying the demons, and Rengoku Rengoku knows that he won't be able to hide his intentions from Muzan's mind-reading abilities. There is literally nothing Rengoku will be able to do, except for one thing, which is gonna be very anime-ish. Rengoku grows weak from hunger and decides to end his pitiful existence as a demon by stepping into the sunlight. But just before he can do that, Akaza tempts him with some more food, and this time, Rengoku's failing spirit snaps. As he indulges his demonic needs, his human memories start to fade. They're locked deep within his mind, and he eats in order to stay alive. In other words, Rengoku's transformation into a demon is now complete. And so now let's shift over to the Demon Slayer core, where Rengoku's betrayal leaves the group absolutely devastated. And of course, there are many ways that the Demon Slayers could approach this terrible situation, but no matter what, the loss of one of their strongest warriors is a terrible blow, made all the way worse by the knowledge that they now serve their greatest enemy. It is likely at this point that Rengoku's father would commit seppuku in shame, and we have to imagine that the rest of the Demon Slayers are in chaos as well, because from the manga, we know that one of Muzan's eventual goals is to find the Demon Slayer base and wipe all of them out with one foul swipe. And since Rengoku knows where the mansion is, Kagaya Ubayashiki, the leader of the Demon Slayers, could be incredibly worried about Muzan being able to learn this information, and he could consider a few options here, such as ordering everyone to leave and set up a new base somewhere else, or he might simply think that strengthening the current base is the best option here because it is basically already the most demon-proof area in the world. So let's just assume for now that they chose to stay here and that they have an intense debate about what to do regarding Rengoku. Some of the Hashira like Sanemi, the Wind Hashira, or Gyu, the Water Hashira, would probably demand that they hunt him down for his betrayal. Others like Tanjiro and maybe Gyomei, the Stone Hashira, could argue that they need to talk with Rengoku to see if they could bring him back to their side somehow. And Tanjiro is of course extremely concerned about what will happen when the Demon Slayers eventually confront Rengoku again. And so keep watching to see how this epic clash will turn out later on in this video. But before the group can separate for the next missions, I definitely think that in this situation, Tanjiro would ask permission to see Lady Tamayo, who is the demon lady who's working on a cure to turn demons back into people, to see if she has made any progress on the life-changing medicine. However, very likely it still isn't ready at this point, so Tanjiro vows to continue to send her demon blood to continue with her research. And with Rengoku now a fully fledged demon, Akaza would definitely take him to finally meet Muzan. And wow, is the Demon King furious with Akaza for making Rengoku a demon without his permission. It is entirely possible that Muzan could obliterate both of them on the spot, fearing that Rengoku may eventually betray him or become too powerful to control. But for now, let's assume that he restrains himself enough because he recognizes the opportunity to gather more intel about the Demon Slayer core. Muzan attempts to read Rengoku's mind, but he is incredibly disappointed that Rengoku has lost all of those memories for now. Once more, Muzan's temper ignites, but he spares Rengoku's life for a reason that we will see later on in this video. Because Rengoku was already super strong as a human, I think Muzan would make him a lower moon 1 since that spot is now empty after the Mugen Train battle. Then Rengoku is sent out into the world, and this is where the story gets pretty damn dark. At this point, the demon Rengoku would be hungry for power and would likely become a terror in the human world. He buries his human shame and guilt deep alongside his memories. His dark flames consume everything in their path as he rampages through village after village. And this of course takes us to the events of the Entertainment District arc, which we saw in season 2 of the anime. Now during this arc, Tanjiro and the others team up with the Sound Hashira Tengen and his ladies to take out the Upper Moon 6 demons, Daki and Gyutaro. And I think these events would progress pretty much as they did in the original story to a point. In other words, Tanjiro and the others investigate and eventually uncover Daki's presence. They clash in these epic battles, the animation too good, and Daki is almost killed until Gyutaro reveals himself as well. And just like in the original, Daki's ability to use her clothes as a weapon and Gyutaro's poisonous blades almost wipe out the Demon Slayers, but eventually Nezuko awakens her next demon form, and in the end, the Demon Slayers are victorious here. And though badly injured, the main characters are still alive, and Tanjiro even briefly awakened his Demon Slayer mark during the fight as well. However, this is where things change, because now now Rengoku enters the fight as well. You see, after all this time attacking humans and even practicing against Akaza, Rengoku has grown extremely powerful at this point. Much stronger than the Upper Moon 6 demons who were just defeated. And so it is the perfect opportunity for Rengoku to defeat the Demon Slayers and claim Daki and Yutaro's place within the Upper Moons now. And this is a truly awful time for the Demon Slayers' first confrontation with Rengoku. Nezuko is still recovering from nearly going berserk, Tengen and Inosuke are hanging on by a thread, Tanjiro and Zenitsu are basically completely spent at this point as well. But none of that of course matters to Demon Rengoku. His black flames begin to consume the town and burn the people inside. Completely exhausted, Tanjiro stands up wielding his chip blade and confronts this new demon, but he nearly drops the sword when he recognizes who has arrived here. In utter disbelief, Tanjiro just stands there frozen, gazing upon the terrifying demonic form of Rengoku. And despite this shock, I still think that Tanjiro would somehow try to talk to him. That is after all Tanjiro's main character trait, that he always believes in a person's capability to be good. And so Tanjiro frenetically calls out to Rengoku, begging him to stop the destruction, but Rengoku barely pays him any attention. Instead, he heads straight for Tengen, who is writhing in pain due to the poison still in his blood. Looking down on the Sound Hashira, Rengoku's flames flare, and this might stir memories and guilt within him, but Demon Rengoku is still focused on his goals and pushes them back down. He raises his burning sword, then swipes down at Tengen. Tanjiro leaps forward, raising his sword to block the killing blow, but the force of this blow throws Tanjiro aside. Tengen is helpless at this point, and the slash just slices straight through the Sound Hashira. And with one Demon Slayer dead, this is where the battle would really heat up. Because as we've seen with every other demon that Tanjiro has faced so far, his rage comes spilling out. Rengoku turns his dark soulless eyes on the young Demon Slayer. Tanjiro shouts at his former friend, demanding that he remembers himself. Rengoku loved people. He wanted nothing more than to protect humans from demons, but the demon Rengoku barely reacts to any of these words. Instead, he slowly starts approaching Tanjiro. And with an unwavering courage, both Zenitsu and Inosuke stand beside Tanjiro, even though they can barely even move. And together, they face down their most terrifying threat yet. A former friend turned into a horrible, heartless monster. They clash for a brief moment, but the three of them are clearly no match for the demon, especially because they were pushed to the limit in the previous battle already. Even Nezuko tries joining the battle, but she is also completely exhausted. So Rengoku traps all of them in a burning cage of black flames, and with no shred of humanity in his eyes, he raises his blade to strike all of them down. But then the wind starts picking up, the flames flicker, and suddenly the fire is gone, and Rengoku vanishes. At least as far as the three young Demon Slayers can tell. Sword clashes start ringing out. Bursts of flame and wind stir the streets. The sound of gushing water surrounds them, and suddenly everything stops. On one end of the street stands the Demon Rengoku, blood dripping and cuts healing. In front of Tanjiro stand Gyu and Sanemi, the water and wind Hashiras, breathing hard. And of course, those two would not just show up randomly. I think it's entirely possible that those two would have been hunting Rengoku this entire time and have just managed to catch up to the former Hashira. So Gyu looks back at the boys and would probably order them to flee, but Sanemi cares less about the younglings and stares down at the burned corpse of Tengen, and his rage boils over. He shouts at Rengoku, cursing him, and now that they've tracked him down, they are going to end him. Rengoku, however, just smirks, flames rising up around him, and the battle resumes. Now, Zenitsu would probably ask here if they should flee, but Tanjiro, of course, and also Inosuke would not even respond to that as they strain to keep up with the incredible display of power in front of them. And we know from much later on in the story that the Upper Moon 1, 2, and 3 demons are pretty far above the power levels of the individual Hashira. And while Rengoku hasn't quite reached that level yet, he is certainly much stronger than anything that the Hashiras have faced before. So this definitely isn't going to be an easy battle. However, at the same time, Gyu and Sanemi are two of the strongest Hashira, and together they do manage to keep Rengoku occupied. They do know that the sun is about to rise, so they must just stay alive until it finally comes. As the battle continues, the town burns, screams fill the air, and the Hashira are distracted by trying to keep the innocent people alive at the same time as facing Rengoku. Meanwhile, the demon delights in the chaos, causing more destruction with his flames. And amidst the burning town, Tanjiro finds himself torn here. He does know that he is completely outmatched in a battle on this level, but he cannot just stand by and watch his friends perish as well. And despite it all, he still refuses to give up hope that Rengoku might not still be saved. But time is ticking away, and in the blink of an eye, Gyu is engulfed in flames, and Sanemi's attempt to save him earns him a wicked slash across his leg. The two Hashira stumble, and Rengoku charges towards them. The battle picks up once again, but the Hashira are clearly beginning to lose their grip here. And I do think that it's at this point that Tanjiro would not be able to hold himself back any longer. As always, when he's the most desperate, Tanjiro finds his next level of strength. His heart starts to race as he feels the rhythmic powers of sun breathing filling his body. Gyu cuts Rengoku across the chest, but flames explode from the wound, stunning the water Hashira. Rengoku grabs Gyu by the throat and squeezes tightly. Gyu gasps, his neck bulging, but suddenly Gyu is free and Rengoku's severed hand falls to the ground. Tanjiro now stands over a breathless Gyu, his demon mark flaring on his forehead, giving him new strength to fight. Rengoku grins, blocking a blow from Sanemi and then coming after Tanjiro. But Tanjiro is furious. The rage fuels his muscles and he leaps forward so quickly that Rengoku can barely block the strikes. And now together, the three demon slayers rain blows on their former friends. With each strike, Tanjiro shouts memories at Rengoku, reminding him of their treasured time together, how he laughed with them, how he trained with them, and how he was willing to give up his life for them. The memories fuel Tanjiro's spirit, but nothing seems to break through to Rengoku. And still, Tanjiro of course keeps trying because this demon was his friend, and I don't think that he would ever give up on him. But nonetheless, at this point, Tanjiro is slowing down. Exhausted, he slips and gets tossed to the side. Gyu and Sanemi are quickly downed as well. They simply cannot keep up with the stamina and recovery of this overpowered demon. So Rengoku now stands over them, ready to deliver the final blow. But Tanjiro rises one last time. His sword is gone, his breaths are heavy, his sun breathing flares, and he stares the demon directly in the eye. And he does the only last thing that he can do. Tanjiro yells Rengoku's name. Over and over again, he repeats it, trying to reach down and awaken that buried memory. Because just like he does with his sister, Nezuko, Tanjiro has to believe that the human is still buried inside somewhere of this terrifying monster. And with each time, Rengoku's eyes grow unfocused. The flaming sword lowers, and suddenly tears form in the dark pits of his eyes. And a word starts to form on his lips. Tanjiro. The flames falter. Sanemi goes for another strike, but Rengoku blocks it. Sanemi. His gaze turns to Gyu, and he calls the water Hashira's name as well. And then Rengoku, the former flame Hashira, drops his sword. He stares at his hands, tears running down his face as he looks at the demon slayers in front of him. Tanjiro has finally reached him. His memories return, but so do the shame and guilt that he has been burying all this time. And with Rengoku finally coming back, there are a few ways that this could now go. If he's truly returned, the demon slayers could bring him back with them. However, as we saw with Sanemi when he first met Nezuko, when a demon kills a human, some Hashira believe that there is no forgiving that sin in any way. And so while emotions are overwhelming Rengoku, Sanemi goes for a deathly strike, but Tanjiro steps in front of him. He kneels before Rengoku and tells him that he can still choose to come back, but Rengoku doesn't believe him. His eyes turn to Tengen's burned body, and his cries grow even louder, and he simply asks Sanemi to end him. And the Wind Hashira is more than willing to do so until a haunting laugh echoes down the dark streets. Muzan has arrived. Because while Muzan was initially disappointed that he couldn't get information about the Demon Slayers when they first met, he probably knew that at some point Rengoku would regain those memories. And so he was just waiting for the right moment all this time. And with Rengoku's memories returned, Muzan reads Rengoku's mind and finally learns the secret location of the Demon Slayer core, including where to find their base. The Demon Slayers rise. Tired and racked, they face down the Demon King. Muzan applauds Rengoku Rengoku ironically for being so useful, and then he calls the former Hashira to his side. He tells Rengoku that he can use that guilt and shame to grow much stronger, but Rengoku does of course not listen anymore at this point. Instead, he rises, he begs everyone to flee, reminding them that the sun is about to rise and Muzan can't stay here for long. Muzan scowls and tries to trigger the curse that will instantly kill Rengoku, but it doesn't work. With his memories fully returned and his humanity with it, Rengoku's connection to Muzan has been severely severed. Now, we do know of course that Muzan is just insanely powerful, way more powerful than even the upper moon demons, so it is entirely possible that he kills all of them right here. But to continue the story, let's assume that with the sun close to rising, Rengoku stands to face the Demon King. He tells the others to run, and without hesitation, Gyu and Sanemi take the others and flee. And I would like to believe that Rengoku would at least be strong enough to hold the king off for at least a short while before Muzan eventually ends the former Flame Hashira's life. And with the sun rising, the Demon Slayers manage to retreat safely back to the Demon Slayer core base. But despite the heart-wrenching tragedy of losing Tengen and Rengoku for a second time, there is no time to rest. With Muzan now aware of their location, it would only be a matter of time before the demons launch an all-out assault on the Demon Slayer core. And this insane all-out battle will require Tanjiro and the other Demon Slayers to summon every ounce of their strength, skill, and courage that they possess just to survive this. But one thing that we do know is that Tanjiro would never give up on protecting his friends, so he would certainly unlock his full potential to defeat the Demon King or die trying. And if you want to see my full breakdown of why this part of his character makes Tanjiro such a fantastic and great protagonist, you can watch right here. Thanks for watching.